Hey, everybody in podcast land. It is time for Sports Frenzy 2.0. We're taping on the 9th of June. This will hit on the 10th. I'm the maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the conquistador, Dave Height. Welcome back. Good times ahead.
Lots of fun stuff for you. And if you know anything about Sports Frenzy, if you've been listening for the last 3 months, that's got a little bit of facetiousness attached to it. And if you don't know what facetious means,
go back to school, you hilljack.
Yeah, hippie. All right, we're going to start off this week with NASCAR because we have to recap the Sonoma race. The last race here before we take a week off from our picks because of the All-Star weekend.
At Texas, which go back a couple episodes and you'll hear all about the stupidity of how that whole thing is set up.
Dave got his homework assignment. He did well. He did well on it. It was like doing calculus, trigonometry, all at the same time. Yeah, all at the same time.
Good Lord.
Now, but I have a rant here. Right off the bat, I have a rant, and I think you'll back me up on this because we talked about this before. Okay, Sonoma, Kyle Larson wins the race going away.
Dominates the whole damn thing.
57 of 92 laps led, won both stages. I can't stand the pole formula anymore. I can't.
No,
they basically handed the race to Kyle Larson. I know he's a good road course racer, but the way this race fell, you had to have been an absolute, I won't use a politically incorrect term, mentally challenged idiot to not win this race if you were a halfway competent driver. And he won it. And the two favorites finished second and third behind him because they really didn't have much of a chance to catch him.
No. And the late cautions, there was the opportunity there, but they just couldn't do it.
Right. And
without wrecking him.
And I'm not ripping on Kyle Larson. Don't get me wrong. I'm rooting for him. I really am. I hope he wins this whole damn thing this year. I hope he does.
Redemption.
Yes, the redemption tour of Kyle Larson. We're getting everybody back on the road. Every Counting Crows, Judas Priest, Kyle Larson, the Redemption Tour,
we're
2021.
We're taking it back.
Sibilance. So nobody's rooting against Kyle Larson. I want the man to win the whole damn thing. I really do. It'd be awesome.
But at the same time,
I don't like the way this is structured. They're still carrying over the COVID stuff with we're not going to do the full weekend with the practice and the qualifying. You're putting people at a disadvantage so they don't have a chance to catch up with the leaders. Because if they had one bad race, then they have to start back in the pack. Look at Truex.
Yeah.
Truex had a great car, as always. Great at Sonoma. He had to start back.
Burned the car up trying to get there.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's the way the cautions fell with the pit stops late. That's the way the road courses work.
Right, but again,
the late cautions, they were
different.
There.
The pole position is different. And
because
we've seen this all throughout this year.
You don't have to deal with anything else.
Now, of course, it's going to change because once they get done with All-Star Race Weekend, then they're going to go to a new track at Nashville. So they're going to have to qualify. So that'll shake things up for a little bit.
That's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah. So anytime, if you guys don't know the rules for this year, and I don't blame you if you don't because they're just stupid, but any new track, any super speedway, they have to qualify. Any other track,
they're going to do some stupid, convoluted bullshit formula.
And then same day, everything happens in one day for the Cup guys.
Yeah.
All right. And, of course, lucky as he has been lately, Kyle Larson also got the draw, and he's going to start on the pole for the All-Star race.
Son of a bitch.
So, everything right now,
everything's
Kyle
coming up Larson.
Yeah. No snake eyes for him, I'll tell you.
No, he is on a roll right now.
So, like I said, no picks this week. We're getting a week off here. Dave and I, we miss it. We'd like to have a regular race. Some of the other people in our crew are like,
see ya, thank you.
Hallelujah. No NASCAR this week. Thank God. But we do have other headlines. And as we mentioned last week, Dave and I were sneaking a peek at the Chicago iRacing last Wednesday. I don't think we actually told everybody what happened. But
No.
James Davison dominated.
He freaking ran away with the damn thing. It wasn't even close. What was it? Wound up well over 50 seconds ahead of the second place car.
Yeah. Now, of course, if they actually do go ahead and do a Chicago street race on the Cup Series here in the next year or two, I don't think it's going to be like that.
No. This was a whole different ball game, and iRacing is different. You have a different feel on the car. You actually can't feel what it's doing to know. They can simulate as much as you can, but it's a simulator.
Right.
You don't actually have a feel for it.
Right. Now, the Maestros Weekly, NASCAR news. Word is now that Chicago is not the only possible street race in play for the NASCAR schedule.
Don't go to a tired old place that's been done before.
No, word is, of course, this is going to still make you mad.
Of course it will.
Because we were just talking about this recently, about how we were happy that California had a race taken away.
Do not go to effing L.A.
L.A. is also in play, racing around the Coliseum.
No. If you want a road course in California,
Willow Springs.
Yeah. Or I would even take. Oh, I can't even think of the.
All right. Well, you got your thing. You're looking that up.
Think that.
I'm going to give you another a couple of hits here. This one you probably did hear because this just hit today. NASCAR was scared enough by the Joey Logano wreck recently where they are going to implement rule changes to the bodies of the cars to slow them down on the super speedways for the rest of the year, 7 to 10 miles per hour.
What?
Yep. So now, because they did not like the way Joey Logano got wrecked out.
Wah, too bad. Suck it, you little pansy.
Hey, that one sucked for me because I had him in that race. That was Talladega, man. NASCAR's looking out for me. The one other little tidbit I have here on my NASCAR gossip corner is it is possible now, with this being the last race of the Fox broadcast season, as we now go to NBC, that
Laguna Seca. Sorry. Laguna Seca is the road course that you need to throw
I
out
got
there.
one when we get to the weekend edition that I'm going to apologize for last week when I had a brain fart. So no problem.
There we go.
Laguna Seca, I obviously know that. Yeah, from GT.
Yeah, Laguna Seca is a historic track. Laguna or Willow Springs. Those are the two you need. Screw L.A.
Let's screw L.A. Hey.
They can't support shit. F them.
The great Randy Newman song, right?
Exactly.
The other tidbit I have is Jeff Gordon may possibly be leaving Fox Sports at the end here of the broadcast year for them, as he might want to take on a bigger role in Hendrick Motorsports.
That's intriguing.
Yes.
What the hell would he do?
I don't know. It's interesting that, he probably wouldn't get back in a race car, but he wants to take on a bigger behind-the-scenes role.
He could do both.
Yeah. So I don't know how much it is.
Unless Hendrick is trying to get away from more of being there weekly and putting Gordon there as the face on the weekly basis.
Are we looking at Hendrick Gordon Motorsports, possibly?
Possibly.
There you go. But now who would they... I haven't even thought of this, but who would they throw in the booth with Boyer and Joy? Wow. So that would be tempting for somebody who is one of the older drivers, like a Keselowski, a Harvick, to possibly come up to the booth and give up the racing. They both have titles already. Now, but Keselowski, of course, a couple weeks ago in our rumor mill,
possibly join Roush Fenway.
A part owner. So Harvick, with the way Stuart Haas is going,
Harvick could.
Yeah,
he would be interesting.
He's been good in the booth. The little bit I've heard.
Yeah.
So
he brings that edge, kind of like Boyer does.
He'll tell it like it is.
Yeah.
He does not candy coat it, sugar coat it.
No, and that's what you want.
Right.
You need that to balance the comedy that Boyer's got.
Right. And then speaking of Mike Joy, I just thought this was a little fun, interesting thing. He actually ran in a historic Trans Am race at Sonoma last weekend.
Nice.
And you look at him in the booth when they show him at the beginning of the races, and you don't look at him and go, he's a racer.
No.
But
Joy is the ultimate car guy. He has been calling races since the 80s. And he's always there for a lot of the big Barrett Jackson auto auctions. He's there announcing those, right there, pointing out everything on all the cars. I mean, Joy is so knowledgeable. He's one of the guys through the years that I have enjoyed watching and listening to.
Yep.
He knows his stuff, and he can relate to everybody.
Yeah, so let's hope if the Jeff Gordon rumor becomes true, it's Joy, Boyer, and somebody. And I have faith in Fox. They always do a good job. Doesn't matter if it's NASCAR, NFL, MLB. They usually know what they're doing. Unlike some
NBC.
Other ESPN. Suck balls. But all right,
of late, ESPN was good early on.
Yeah, but you're going back to when we were teenagers.
Well, that's
you have to go back to the 80s and the 90s to when
have
ESPN was actually
ESPN.
good. They have been terrible for almost 20 years.
Yeah, that's bad.
All right, kids, a little bit of NFL news here for you before we take a break. The trade actually went down. No, not Aaron Rodgers. No, not Deshaun Watson, but Julio Jones
goes to the Titans.
How do you feel about this haul? To me, it seems like on one level it's a steal, on another level, for a guy who really he always looks kind of beaten down, broken down. Can't rely on him every week because you don't know.
It's a second round
in 2022, a fourth in 2023, and then the Titans had to swap back a sixth rounder in 2023.
It's not a bad deal. I mean, if the Titans can get 2 decent years out of him and make a serious run, because he might be the missing piece that offense needs.
Yeah, the only thing I worry about is, okay, so I understand they were a good fit for him because they just lost one of their 2 top receivers to the Jets. So bringing him in, now they pair him up with their other AJ Davis. I can't remember his name for sure. AJ Brown. And then, of course, you've got they lost their tight end to the Patriots. So they needed more offensive weapons. The thing
when he's on, he's phenomenal, but he's been off more than not of late.
And I think I was thinking of Corey Davis was the one that went to the Jets where A.J. Brown stayed with the Titans. But, okay, you're the Dolphins expert here. Your Dolphins, next year the Bears are your team. And I understand Ryan Tannehill has turned out to be the ultimate reclamation project, and I'm not ripping on him. I think he's been great the last few years. I think the money he's gotten has been well-deserved. They've got the best running back, in my opinion, in the game.
Oh, by far. I thought the Dolphins cut bait on him too soon.
Do you think, and maybe this is a reflection on how I feel about Matty Ice. He's never going to be able to live down the stigma of what happened in that Super Bowl.
No, he's not.
But he only had one really bad play that you can put on him.
Right.
The rest of it was play calling and coaching. Is Julio Jones going to be happier with Ryan Tannehill throwing the ball as opposed to Matt Ryan? There's not that huge of an age difference.
There's not, but I think it's the overall offensive scheme.
But they just lost their offensive coordinator. He just took over as the head coach of the Falcons. Yeah. That's the irony of the whole thing.
But it's the whole culture. If you look, how bad has Atlanta been other than trying to make that Super Bowl run? They have been so bad on the decisions they've made down the stretch with play calling and everything. And the Titans have something that they were building. I think it's a culture thing between the organizations.
I think this could be a win-win for both.
It could be.
Because, of course, Falcons are bringing in who's supposed to be the greatest tight end of all time in Kyle Pitts from Florida. And they have Ridley, who's this is a natural progression. He's ready to step up and be the number one guy. Yeah. They've got Gage. For you fantasy people out there, listen to these names because we're trying to give you some help.
How many years have the Falcons had all the
They haven't drafted
weapons?
Defense. They have never. When was the last time the Falcons had a good defense?
It's been forever.
And you're going to tell me the Titans have a good defense? I'm going to say no, both of them. Everybody's focusing on offense. And this is why, as much as I hate the Bears, and much as I despise Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy,
we're one
of the few teams in the NFL that actually has a defense. And at some point, it's going to play out where a good defense is going to win again. And I don't think the Titans have one, and I don't think the Falcons have one. No. So this is going to be a win-win on the offensive side, but in terms of where they end up in the playoffs or the standings in general, I think it's going to be
It's going to be you're right. It's a wash. But you asked why would he want to go? I think it's the culture change.
I can't argue with that, but I just find it funny the offensive coach leaves to go to the other team where Julio's coming from.
Yeah.
Just very odd to me.
It's bizarro world.
Speaking of bizarro world, a two-part conundrum here. Number one, of course, we knew this was coming.
Get your abacus out.
Aaron Rodgers decided not to show up for the 3-day mandatory Packers minicamp.
Fine him the max.
That's conundrum number one. What do you do? Do you fine him and risk pissing him off even more?
You know what? Screw fucking Aaron Rodgers. As the Packers...
And we're not just saying that as Bears fans.
No. These organizations have to draw a line in the frickin' sand with these frickin' prima donna players. Oh, I don't like the way you're doing this. You didn't consult me. Guess what? They don't frickin' have to consult your sorry ass. Fine him to the max. Force his hand. Don't trade him. If he wants to retire instead of playing, make him frickin' retire.
And take all that money back.
Take it all back. If he wants to sit out, you don't have to pay him shit.
Yep.
As the Packers, you are in the driver's seat. The hell with him. Move on.
Yep. And the maximum fine for missing all 3 days of minicamp, which we assume he's going to, is right around $90,000.
Yeah. And he already lost out on $500,000 bonus by not showing up.
So, but I'm hoping with like you that they fine his ass to the max.
Yeah.
Because what message does that send to the rest of your players?
Guess what?
Oh, well,
you want to hold us hostage? Yeah. Sorry, you're not going to do
Aaron can miss minicamp, but you can't.
Yeah, no, sorry.
You can't do that. Anybody that knows me knows I can't stand a double standard. And this would be the ultimate in the NFL double standard category.
And if he's drawn the line, then the Packers need to just step up and say, F off, we don't need you. That's why we drafted Love.
Who, mixed reports, Tuesday didn't sound good. Now I heard today, Wednesday,
looked better.
The 9th looked better. Could start, supposedly, week 1 if they need him to.
You know what? You got to start him at some point.
But here's conundrum number 2. Aaron Rodgers, mad about the way the GM's running the team. Mad about the fact they drafted Jordan Love. Mad about the fact they're not giving him enough weapons, which I think is garbage. He's got one of the best running backs in the game. He's got arguably one of the top 2 wide receivers in the game. How can you say they're not giving you enough weapons?
You've got them there. You just have a problem trusting people. You've got how many people out there that you could throw to that you choose not to?
Yeah, you made Robert Tonyan a star this year at tight end. So you've got enough weapons, Aaron. Shut up, report,
and actually dish the ball around. Quit being a little bitch.
But now here's the fun part. We've talked about this in the past. Aaron Rodgers. Kyler Murray, for some reason, thought he should have a say in how the Cardinals are drafting.
How the hell does Kyler Murray think he has a say in anything if Rodgers does?
And also, before the shit hit the fan in Houston, Deshaun Watson said the same thing.
No. Now
the rumors are out there.
Now, I will say in Houston, you probably should let anybody else run the team other than the douchebag they have there now.
Yeah, you have gone on rants about him. You don't like, was it Pelissari?
Whatever the frick his name is, who was a frickin' I'm a life coach that people can talk to me about anything from the Patriots, who now suddenly is a GM with no fucking football knowledge at all. How many damn Patriots has he brought in down to Houston?
Right. Yep. And you've covered that.
God.
Yep. Your hatred for him is obvious and noted. But now, here's where the fun starts, kids. Everybody pretty much acknowledges that one of the few teams, if not the number one team, that could trade for one of these top-level quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, would be the Denver Broncos. Correct?
Correct.
And now rumor is out there that an ex-teammate of Deshaun Watson has told someone in the press, and it's leaked, that Deshaun Watson wants to go to the Broncos. So now we've got Aaron Rodgers to the Broncos, Deshaun Watson to the Broncos.
Who's in the driver's seat?
This is going to be fun. Now that we're done with the June 1st deadline, all bets are off.
Yep. Ties can be severed. Money can be saved.
When does Nick Foles go to the Jets? For God's sakes, pull the trigger on the deal already. Good Lord, we don't need 3 quarterbacks in Chicago.
No, we do not.
Finally, just to make sure I give the Conquistador his daily aneurysm, I'm going to bring up the fact that former Kansas City Chief Assistant Coach Britt Reed has pled not guilty.
Asshole!
In that terrible drunk driving case where he destroyed a young girl's life. Our justice system at work.
You gotta love it. And the judge has allowed him to continue to drive if he puts on the breathalyzer device. Gee, we've never seen that backfire before, have we, kids?
And how about this? The girl can't move around. Why do we let Britt Reed move around?
Exactly.
House arrest! Screw the breathalyzer
He's
device.
He's a frickin' repeat offender. He has a horrible history with drug and alcohol abuse and causing accidents.
Until that poor girl can actually get up on her 2 feet, walk under her own power, Britt Reed should not be allowed to leave the damn house.
Exactly. Travesty
Boom,
of justice
confetti.
Again.
That's what you get to close out the first segment of Sports Frenzy 2.0 for June the 9th. We'll be right back after a quick promo break, kids. Stay tuned. Are you tired of getting body slammed by the mainstream sports media? Are you sick of their lame trash talk? Check out Sports Frenzy 2.0 with a tag team of the Maestro and the Conquistador. Pile drive those jackasses into submission. Available on all major podcast hosts, including Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and Castbox. Kevin Dave slap a figure 4 on all the major sports networks who lie, kiss ass, and refuse to take names. New episodes drop every Thursday with new weekend edition episodes every Saturday. And that's the bottom line, because Sports Frenzy said so!
All right, kids, welcome back to the second segment of Sports Frenzy 2.0. I'm the Conquistador Dave Height.
Along with the maestro, Kevin Crane.
And you can find us here on Spotify, Anchor, Apple, all your podcast locations. And please check out our Facebook page and rate us. Please rate us. Give us something. So, all right, we're going to start this segment off with a little NHL, some playoff updates for you. Lightning sweep Carolina out 4-1. Canadian or they don't sweep them out. Canadians sweep the Jets out. Islanders are up 3-2 and Vegas is up 3-2. So we'll see what happens going down. And the good news is the NHL and the Canadian government have agreed upon a way to have travel for U.S. teams going in. They got to go by private plane. There's going to be a modified bubble. They can't have any contact with the public at all. And they have to have daily testing. So at least you got that caveat in there. The Canadians can have home games up there in Montreal. Life is good.
Again, another sign of hopefully getting back to normalcy, that Canada's finally going to let Americans in.
Yeah, they've waived that 14-day quarantine period. Yep. So let's hope that starts to go away. Avalanche's Kadari. The NHL suspended him 8 games. The neutral arbitrator upheld it. So if somehow the Avs can win tonight as we tape to force a Game 7, he would be available. God, I hope they lose so this asshat doesn't get to play. So there you go, kids. Good stuff.
Yeah, now, I think with hockey, right now, we've talked about this, the Lightning are the favorites to me. The Lightning are the favorites. Down. I would like to see if Vegas beats the Avalanche, that would be the one I want to see.
You know, I'm actually kind of hoping for the Canadians. It's been so long since a Canadian team has been to the finals, let alone won something. So I'm kind of pulling there, and they're an original 6 team. I like
they're pretty hot. I mean, they're smoking hot right now.
Yeah,
you know?
As an original 6, I would not mind seeing them go.
So there you go, kids. And of course, there's all the wonderful, non-biased New York fans who we all hate and despise, who would love to see the Islanders win. But you get enough focus and attention. We're sick of New York. We hate New York.
Yeah, and that's why
you're going to get the Brooklyn Nets.
And that's why the Bruins head coach, Bruce Cassidy, was fined $25,000 for criticizing the referees and officials. The Islanders have barely been penalized. They've been getting away with a lot of stuff that the Bruins have not been able to. So,
yeah, supposedly the Islanders fans tonight, when they play the Bruins, are going to be wearing Saints gear.
Yeah, because the Bruins coach said they're not Saints. Guess what? You just brought all the halos. Wait, bent and broken halos because it is New York.
Right. Yeah, just don't ride the subway because you'll probably get slashed. But it's the greatest city in the world. All right. Time to move on to what I've been waiting for all week.
Dance with the Devil in the Pale Moonlight?
Finally! It doesn't matter because it's not one of my teams, but in the end, this is one of the greatest things outside of one of my teams ever. Because it takes another hit on LeBron James' legacy. LeBron got ousted. Last week I told you I was praying for this. I was hoping for this, and it happened. Thank the basketball gods. The sports gods answered my prayers. Bron knocked out in 6 by the Phoenix Suns. Yes! There is a basketball god. Yes, he still acknowledges Michael Jordan as the greatest of all time. Yes, he still says Shaq and Kobe, Bird, Magic, all of them better than LeBron James. Suck it, LeBron.
So I take it you're happy that the Suns won.
Ah! Ecstatic. But we've got more to talk about with LeBron. More, because he just won't leave us alone. He just won't go quietly into that dark night. In his press conference after they got beat, what did he have to do? He was humble, by all accounts. He was gracious.
He just had to be the gracious loser, acknowledge that the better team won.
But what did he have to do at the end of the press conference? After he lost Game 6 against the Suns, he had to sneak in a promo for Space Jam 2. He couldn't resist. He couldn't resist.
Would you?
He's got more money than God. Show some class. You just got your ass handed to you. Walk away. Okay? Walk away. Like Humongous said to Mad Max in the World War, just walk away. But he couldn't do it. He had to slip in a promo for Space Jam 2. That tells me the kind of person, the kind of competitor he is.
But what station was it on?
Oh, it was the basic after-game press conference. I'm sure it was on ESPN all over the place.
And there it is.
Yeah, but they don't own Space Jam 2. That's Warner Brothers.
That's Warner Brothers. You're right. Sorry.
Because that's going to be on HBO Max for free next month.
Guess what I'm not watching?
Yeah, no kidding. I didn't watch the first one.
All right.
That had the greatest basketball player of all time in it. Wait, I got one more.
Are we talking Pat Riley?
Not yet. I'm still on LeBron. And then we can move on. And I can't believe, from what I've seen so far, nobody's got this. Nobody's figured this out. LeBron switching his jersey number for next year.
I saw that.
Dumping 23 and will wear number 6. Here's where that makes me mad. How many championships did Michael Jordan have? How many? How many did Michael Jordan have?
6?
You don't think that's a backhanded slap to Michael Jordan? You're out of your mind. That's why he's switching to 6. I don't want to hear any other reason why. That's why he's switching to 6. He still thinks he's better than MJ. He still thinks he's going to win 6 titles.
But
God, I hate him.
But is he going to go back to Miami to do it? Because Pat Riley just got fined for publicly saying that he would love to have LeBron back with the Heat. Dude, how long have you been in the NBA? Is Alzheimer's finally catching up with you?
Oh, didn't Daryl Morey
publicly speak?
Well, same thing. Daryl Morey, I think, got fined for trying to coax or supposedly saying something in a press conference to coax Steph Curry to come play with his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
Just you guys are smart enough.
Publicly.
You're smart enough to know better than to say crap like this. One final thought on the Lakers before we move on to the rest of the NBA. Charles Barkley, I held off on this last week. Love Chuck. I love Charles Barkley. And he called it. And like I said, I held off because I wanted to see how the Suns-Lakers series panned out. But he gave Anthony Davis a new nickname last week. And it panned out this week as the Lakers got beat down by Phoenix. We will now refer to Anthony Davis as street clothes. Because that's all he does is wear street clothes. Because he's always hurt.
Nice.
So be careful who you align yourself with, LeBron. Be careful when you're the mercenary of all time, who you decide to bring into your fold and try to keep winning your championships to get to number 6, which you'll never do.
Stop manipulating. All right. Hey, can we give kudos to this year's MVP?
Yes, Nikola Jokic.
Yes. the 6th international player to have won the award?
Only Nugget ever.
Only Nugget ever to win an MVP.
Lowest pick ever. Lowest draft pick ever to win an MVP. He was the 41st pick in the 2014 draft. Yes, kudos to him. Good for him.
Well played season. Well deserved to win this one.
Now, we've got Coach of the Year came out this week, too.
Yes.
Tom Thibodeau, again, well deserved, although they really crapped the bed in the playoffs.
They did. Now, you could also make an argument the Suns' Monty Williams could have won it as well.
I think Monty Williams won earlier for like the AP award. I might be wrong on that. He did win an award for Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
He and Thibodeau kind of swapped the two top Coach of the Year awards. Again, Thibodeau with the Knicks was phenomenal, but I've always said when you take these awards into account, why can't you take the postseason into account? Because I think Monty would have won and should have won. Monty would have and should have won given the postseason because the Knicks crapped the bed.
Yeah.
Where the Suns are still rolling. And they beat LeBron James.
Badly.
Of course, we have to offer Sports Frenzy apologies across the board, Dave and I. We apologize. We're not doctors. We obviously cannot judge the heart and the spirit of the NBA warrior known as Joel Embiid. When we heard he had that partially torn meniscus, we thought he was out multiple games, possibly multiple series. Did he even miss one game?
I don't think so, but come on. Historically, a torn meniscus sidelines somebody for a length of time. Maybe it was just a teensy partial tear because we've seen partial tears sideline guys for weeks. Kudos to him for playing through this.
Yep. And he was in the top 3 in the MVP voting.
Yep.
And then, of course, another injury, James Harden, hamstring problems, has been out for the Nets. Doesn't seem to matter. They are just trouncing the Milwaukee Bucks right now.
Yeah, that's pretty one-sided right there.
Right. Now we've got coach firings as well to wrap up the NBA segment. My Orlando Magic parted ways with Steve Clifford. We could see this coming a mile,
it's not
3,000 miles away because of the fact that they traded all the good players. You know
that had rebuilt from top to bottom.
This is a nuclear rebuild. Orlando's going to go through a nuclear rebuild. Now, the one that kind of surprised me was, and I'm going to butcher his name. I know I am. Nate Bjorkgren, the Indiana Pacers head coach. 1 year, one and done.
One and done. Boy, you talk about a team that folded in on itself.
Yeah, they broke a long streak of making the playoffs this year. But here's my question. Didn't they trade Victor Oladipo? So are you going to hold the coach completely accountable when you trade one of your best players?
Yeah, but you have to look at how the rest of the team responded to him and the way they played going down after that.
And that was obviously an issue.
And there was nothing that –
because Sabonis is awesome. Sabonis is a great player. The Pacers should have done better. I'm not disputing that. But again, when these teams trade players, like what I said with the Magic, when you start shipping your best players out, the coach is going to pay the penalty. But is it really his fault?
It is if he can't get the rest of the team to at least maintain their intensity and progress moving forward. And they did not buy into what he was doing.
No. Now, the one other coach that got ousted this week was Terry Stotts in Portland after a lot of years for the Trailblazers. Now, a lot of people are reading into this and saying this is because he could not get them over that hump. They could never get to the finals. And you mentioned last week how great Damian Lillard was down the stretch
Yeah.
in their playoff run. Of course, he has to come out. Damian Lillard has to come out and say he wants Jason Kidd as his next coach. And the NBA community collectively goes, why? Why?
Why? No.
Good thing Jason Kidd immediately pulled his name out
and said, I don't want to do this.
So now the question is Damian Lillard going to start pulling a James Harden?
Wanting out.
Yeah, try to pull a power play to get out of Portland. Even though he has said repeatedly he wants to win with Portland, he wants to stay in Portland.
How about the Portland general manager and president of operations actually get some more talent out there and do their job?
Yeah, and don't bring in old, aging veterans like Carmelo Anthony.
Right. Get some of these young guys. How about your freaking draft better? Do some research.
Well, I'll tell you this. I would not want to be a GM for any basketball team trying to draft now.
Oh,
it's got to be virtually impossible.
With all the one and dones.
Yeah.
Who have no understanding of how the game
you got no
should
feel,
actually be played.
No feel, no experience.
They can't be coached.
Right. Yeah, you get a Zion Williamson once in a while. You get a LeBron James once in a while. God forbid I said that. But otherwise, sometimes you get years where you get crap.
Yeah, you got guys with all the talent in the world, but there's nothing between their ears, and they don't have enough common sense to listen to the coach on how they should be developing. They think they know it all. And you can't have that. So that's what you have when you allow the one and dones or the right out of high school who think they know it all.
Yeah, and the thing is, with the NBA, probably more so than most other sports, I know all the major sports recycle head coaches. They all do. But we see what happened with the Atlanta Hawks this year when they fired their head coach, Nate McMillan, who is a retread upon a retread.
Upon retread.
He comes in, all of a sudden, he fires up Trae Young, and they're in the second round of the playoffs going toe-to-toe with the Sixers. So you never know. You really don't.
Yeah.
But, boy, again, I would not want to be a GM trying to figure this out between who's the head coach, who am I drafting.
Yeah, it's crazy anymore.
All right, Dave, let's talk about your White Sox. They're looking good.
They are maintaining. And I am so happy that Adam Engel is finally back. One of our top 4 outfielders. Finally coming back from hamstring. Billy Hamilton goes down and Engel comes in, immediately makes his defensive presence known, saving a home run in his first game back. And it's going to take him a little while to get the timing down, but defensively, he is our best outfielder. So that's going to be good going down the stretch for us. And just plugging away. Pitching is solid. Hitting enough is there.
You have to acknowledge, I know you don't want to do it, your manager
is an asshole.
Tony La Russa is now second all-time in managerial wins.
He is, and as I've said before, we're going to win despite him being there.
He just won this past week his 2,764 game as a baseball manager on the top level. Here's a record that will never be broken, though.
No, it will not.
No way in hell are you ever going to catch Connie Mack 37-31.
That is just
Think about that, kids. Tony La Russa's got to win almost 1,000 more games as a manager to catch Connie Mack.
That's not going to happen. And La Russa has got that many wins and is still above 500.
Yeah. Well, La Russa's been very smart about where he's gone, and I know you hate him. He's a great manager. He really is. He won with Oakland. He won with the White Sox the first time. He's winning with the White Sox the second time.
He won with the Cardinals. And all the iterations that were there.
Right.
In his prime before the retirement, I don't have a problem with what he's done. I just think the game has passed him by at this point.
We'll see. Right now, they are holding steady, doing well. They are 37-23 as we tape.
Yep, they've
on
got
June
the
9th.
Third best winning percentage in baseball right now.
First place in the AL Central, 4 games up on Cleveland.
Yep, and plus 90 on the run differential, tops in all of baseball.
Yep, so
I'm happy. I am happy. Despite
you
all
wouldn't
the
know it
injuries,
from every week how you rip on Tony La Russa.
I like my team. I like my bench coaches. I like my pitching coach, hitting coach. I do not care for my manager.
Does he have a toupee?
Probably.
Because that hair looks really bad
awful.
if it's not a toupee.
It's awful.
And I'm not going to rip on the elderly, but
and
yeah, that's
as my buddy
rough.
Jamie and I have said from the beginning, we're waiting to see the foul ball hit him on the head while he's sleeping on the bench.
I don't have anything to say about the Cubs other than this was a pretty up and down week. They just finished winning 2 of 3 in San Diego. I don't understand how they're playing so well against the Padres, but they are. But they did have a rough weekend against the Giants. So
you've got a team that has a rallying point.
Because they're all pissed off because they can't get contracts. Their front office doesn't want them. They're a bunch of misfits. They're the bad news Bears, the bad news Cubbies.
And they have that point to rally around, and they're playing to it.
35-27 percentage points behind the Brewers in first place. We'll see how the Brew Crew does tonight against the Reds. But, yeah, I did not expect them to play this well. And you're right. They're just gutting it out, fighting. All these guys are playing their hearts out. I had no expectations for this team coming into the year. Everybody knows I don't like David Ross as a manager, but I love Rizzo. I love Kyle Hendricks. There are guys on this team that I want them to keep. Contreras. And the fact that Ricketts, and I'll say it again, I say it every week, Ricketts will not extend an olive branch to 1 or 2 of these guys and offer them a contract.
The money.
That tells me next year they're going nuclear like the Orlando Magic. That's what it tells me.
Yeah.
Because I can't see them re-signing these guys at the end of the year. And the way they're playing, you can't trade them. If you trade these guys when they're fighting for the division title, the faithful in Wrigley will go crazy.
You have to at least get 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, and I think Rizzo and Contreras are the 2 that they would be willing, because they're more affordable.
Yeah. They're more solid and dependable.
Right. They don't want to give Bryant $250. They don't want to give Baez $300 million. I get that.
Those 2 aren't worth what they want.
But you got to bring back Rizzo, the heart of the team. You got to bring back Contreras. There's really not a much better hitting catcher outside of Real Muto in baseball. But there you go. There's our baseball update real quick. One NCAA football headline, which has to be addressed before we take another promo break. And I think this was Yahoo Sports. Had a great headline for this. Very understated, but fun. Alabama must really like their head coach. Because Nick Saban got an extension through 2028. No kidding.
Really?
Wow.
No. That made news?
Yeah. Well, I think the only thing that made it news was that in the wake of Mike Krzyzewski bowing out as Duke basketball head coach, maybe people were thinking Saban wouldn't take the extension. And but Saban, I'll tell you what, man, I give him credit. I could see him going through 2028. Dominating, destroying opponents.
All he has to do is show up and recruit and let his assistants do the rest.
And one little aside here, another rumor, they are meeting currently to decide the future of the college football playoff.
Oh, God.
The rumor is they are going to tack on a lot more teams.
Thank you.
I mean, we're talking double digits.
Ooh, I don't know if I would.
I think they're going 12 is the rumor I've heard in their proposals. I think it's too much. For football, it's too much.
12 is too many.
Should be 8.
Eight is the top 8 is appropriate.
Either way, every year, Alabama, Clemson, until 2028.
Even if you wanted to go 10 and give a couple buys in there.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. You could go 6 and give buys to the top 2.
Yeah.
Right? Something along those lines.
I want to see some of these lower tier
Boise State, Cincinnati, these teams that have been solid for years and years and get themselves in the top 10.
How about UCF?
UCF. Great call.
How many years did they go undefeated and didn't even get in?
Yeah.
So you got to reward some of these programs, kids.
All right, we'll be coming right back. And believe it or not, for the first time in Sports Frenzy history, tennis, golf, soccer, and horse racing in the same episode.
And boxing.
Ah! The world is coming to an end.
Cats and dogs living together. Mass hysteria.
We'll be right back, kids.
This is Coach K, and after my retirement from college basketball, I plan to become an analyst on Sports Frenzy 2.0 with the Maestro and the Conquistador every Thursday on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and Castbox. And don't forget to check out our Facebook page.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Sports Frenzy 2.0, taping on June the 9th, 2021. It's time. Alex Trebek, rest in peace, for potpourri.
Potpourri? Draw a category out of the hat.
I am the Maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the Conquistador, Dave Hyde.
We have got all sorts of miscellaneous sports tidbits for you to wrap up our show this week.
This is all the stuff that we normally would never talk about.
Yeah, I mean, we alluded to some of it earlier, but we've got even more. So let's start off with the stuff we didn't talk about earlier. The USFL is returning in 2022.
Really?
Fox Sports is in as a broadcast partner, so there is legitimacy to this.
Wow. Just wow. Is this going to be our new development football league?
Well, Donald Trump needs something to do. They're bringing back the New Jersey Generals.
Hey, all I can say is just get them out of politics and focused on something else.
Wouldn't it be interesting, though, if they brought back all the old franchises?
Oh, that
from
would
the
be
80s?
Awesome, wouldn't it?
I've got to believe they're going to.
You have to bring those names back.
And then on a side note, the XFL, now this is going back a couple months, but I did not know this. In their bid to start up again with The Rock is one of their heavier investors. They're going to quote unquote collaborate with the Canadian Football League.
Are we going to stop, collaborate, and listen?
Oh my God! Are we doing home renovations next?
Yes,
Vanilla Ice.
Yes, we are.
Oh God, he's coming to town in a couple months too.
Yo. All right, go on with the collaboration.
All right, so there's your non-NFL football news. Now we go to horse racing again. The third leg of the Triple Crown wrapped up last weekend. Essential Quality, who was the betting favorite, did win. But of course, we failed to acknowledge last week that Medina Spirit failed a second drug test. So Churchill Downs has banned Bob Baffert for 2 years.
That's it? Just 2 freaking
and I
years.
still have not heard if they've taken away the Kentucky Derby win.
The problem now is Baffert and the owners of Medina Spirit have sued for an injunction to stop the Kentucky Sports Authority from taking the win away until there's a hearing about this second failed drug test.
So the horse racing legal process is about as bad as the human legal process.
Exactly.
It drags on and on and on.
Baffert, it would be different if this was the first horse that you've trained had this issue, but you are a repeat offender. You are a piece of garbage right now in the way you conduct your business.
You're tainted meat, buddy.
Tainted meat.
Yep.
Love that reference out of Walking Dead. One of the greatest lines ever.
All right. Going to soccer. Got to address this real quick because there have been a lot of misconceptions about this incident that happened in Denver where the soccer crowd there pelted U.S. players with beer and drinks. We talked about bad fan behavior last week. Now, here's the thing. They were Mexico fans. Okay, kids? It wasn't U.S. fans doing this to U.S. players.
No, this is the problem with international soccer, is there's a history of the soccer hooligans. There are rabid fan bases out there who relish being these assholes who will stop at nothing to cause torment and just throw crap on the field, storm the field, fight with opposing fans. It's stupid and ridiculous.
Now, of course, we're still dealing with the fallout from the Super League overseas.
Yeah. So the Big Six, as they're referred to, are due to pay the Premier League around $31 million because of this debacle. And the Big Six are considered Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, Man United, and Tottenham. And if they ever threaten to do something like this again, they're each looking at a $35 million fine.
Yikes. Yikes. That's heavy-duty stuff.
Yeah. So don't F around with trying to start your own league, kids.
Yeah. And this whole stuff with soccer just reinforces my hatred of it. It's a boring sport on the pitch, as they like to say.
Yeah.
And it's just a stupid-ass sport off the pitch.
Yeah, they don't know what they're doing. You talk about overpaid prima donnas. Oh, somebody bumped me. I'm going to fall and act like I'm dying.
Oh, what?
Wait, no.
Is LeBron James playing soccer now?
He could.
He'd be perfect for soccer.
It's a sport of floppers.
Asshat. That asshat. We talked last week about tennis. And, of course, I'm sure a lot of people did not like my take on Naomi Osaka dropping out because of her mental health issues. But again, if you listen to our podcast from last week, you'll understand I wasn't being a complete and total dickhead. I was actually somewhat sympathetic.
We were saying that if she was suffering to that degree, she should not have entered to begin with.
Now, of course, Roger Federer had to withdraw. He just, and I can't fault him for this. The guy has played a lot longer than I would have ever expected.
Oh my God! Yeah,
a guy to play competitive tennis. I think he got into the round of 16, and he finally just said, "I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. I'm just out. I don't feel right." And then Serena Williams on the women's side, same type of problem, but she got beat. She got beat badly, upset. So two of the greats, arguably two greats on the men's and the women's side, might be looking at Father Time catching up with them finally.
And it's going to happen to everybody at some point.
Yep. Moving on to golf. Boy, this one.
Oh, my God.
This one's going to cause some consternation here
God.
with the Conquistador and I.
The fucking PGA are a bunch of assholes and inconsiderate pricks with their treatment of Jon Rahm. That was absolute crap the way they treated him at the end of his round when he just walked off the course ahead while on TV informing him that he had tested positive for COVID and would be forced to drop out.
With a 6-shot lead at the Memorial Tournament.
There is no excuse for publicly talking to him right on the course, right off the green. That is inexcusable. There are HIPAA laws out there that you violated freaking everything on.
Yeah, and how much? And you can argue all you want out there in podcast land about is it Rahm's fault because he waited too long to get vaccinated? He had not gotten his second shot, is my understanding. He got his first shot when he found out that he might have been in contact with somebody who had COVID. But I agree 100% with the Conquistador. A terrible, terrible way to treat him. And then you cost him $1 million goddamn dollars on top of it. And you couldn't put him out there by himself for the last round.
Yeah, this is a freaking sport that you could have done that. Play by himself.
It's not a team sport. It's not a team sport.
And to a person, every golfer supports him and felt that he should have been able to complete his final round by himself.
And I would almost be inclined, if I was him, to get a lawyer and sue the PGA.
For the $1
million goddamn dollars you cost me because of this. Not only the public humiliation, as Dave noted, but the fact it cost me a goddamn $1 million.
Absolutely ridiculous.
All right, closing up golf here.
Are we talking about our favorite butting heads?
Not yet.
Okay.
No, we're getting to them. We're getting to them. Like I said, kids, we got a lot of different ancillary sports stuff coming up here in this segment. I'm going to call out somebody who I'm not a big fan of, but everybody seems to gravitate to him. Everybody seems to love him. Oh, he's one of those athletes that guys like you and me, we appreciate the greatness of certain athletes. We understand why they're popular. They've got championships. They've got trophies. They've got titles.
They've got personality. They connect with the people.
Why is Ricky Fowler so goddamn popular?
I don't know.
He gets endorsement deal upon endorsement deal. He's doing Corona commercials.
He's a non-entity.
He is a 32-year-old golfer right now at this point. He has not been able to get into 2 of the majors so far this year. He failed to qualify for the U.S. Open coming up. He has dropped over the last couple of years in the rankings from 4th to 87th. And here's the thing that's so pathetic about he has not, at 32, 32, we're not talking about a 50-year-old guy like Phil Mickelson.
No, he's 32. He should be in his prime. And he is deteriorating quickly.
Yeah, just because you wear orange all the time doesn't make you cool, dude. Sorry.
Oh, he's a pretty boy.
But here's the thing. Phil Mickelson went on Twitter and tried to give him, quote unquote, his U.S. Open exemption.
Yeah, no.
And guess what? They said, that's not how it works, kids. He's out. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I just want to call out Ricky Fowler because I'm tired of the fact that he gets all these endorsements, all these deals.
For doing nothing.
There are other golfers out there who might not be as photogenic, who might not be as cool, who have won multiple majors, who get nothing like a sniff of the endorsements Ricky Fowler gets.
Yeah.
Ricky Fowler, prove yourself now.
You are
prove yourself.
Overrated hacker.
It's time for you to prove yourself. Otherwise, back off and step away. Now we move on to our favorite rivalry in golf.
DeChambeau and Koepka. Oh my God, this just gets better and better. What was it? Koepka urged fans to heckle DeChambeau at the last tournament. And it was beautiful. He offered 50 cases of beer to any fan who who got tossed out early because of heckling. I mean, that's taking this to the next level.
I love Brooks Koepka. I think he's the man in golf
he
right
is
now.
Just
I
making this go.
I imagine that probably next year he'll be fully healthy. He might not be, good enough to really compete in the U.S. Open and the British, but by next year, I'm hoping that knee heals up and we can see these two go toe to toe.
Oh my God!
Because he said this rivalry is good for golf, and I agree.
I agree completely. And DeChambeau said, if this feud continues, the PGA may have to get involved with Tony.
Wuss! Oh, he had to go there.
Sack up and deal with it.
This is, again, why I'll take Koepka's side 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, Koepka is having fun with it. DeChambeau's taking it personal. Who's going to come out on top?
When was the last time we had a great golf rivalry like this?
Oh, my God.
Tiger and Phil, but they didn't hate each other.
No, it was just two guys at the top of the game.
Have we really ever had two
You've
golfers?
Never had two golfers hating each other.
At the top.
Yeah.
Like this.
No.
I don't remember it.
Because it's always been the...
Jack and Arnie were never like this back when I was a kid.
No. Fuzzy and Chi-Chi?
I think this is an unprecedented...
This is a first.
Yeah.
This is putting the PGA
rivalry
into the fun category.
And we don't need Tiger Woods. That's why I love it. We don't need Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, go away. We have DeChambeau. We have Koepka. We have Phil winning at 50 years old. We don't need Tiger Woods and his goddamn drama. Go away, Tiger.
Yep.
Be with your kids. If you're such a goddamn wonderful human being, go spend time with your kids. You got enough majors. You got enough money. Drop off the face of the earth and spend time with your family.
Go gently into that good night or become a golf analyst.
Oh, God, do you really think he'd be... Now, Phil, I could see being...
Phil would be good.
But Phil's not done.
No,
We've
he's
seen
not.
It. Phil's not done. All right. We only have one moment of silence this week.
Yeah, we're not even going to talk about the boxing debacle that was the exhibition between Mayweather
I don't know what to
and
say
Paul.
about that.
I am sick of these damn frickin' publicity money grabs. There is no way Paul should have lasted more than 2 rounds with Mayweather.
And I've seen stories about there's controversy between a certain moment in the match that people are saying implied some impropriety.
It was staged. It was obvious.
And you want these out. You want these celebrity matches out.
I am sick of these damn celebrity exhibition matches. They are useless. They ruin the legacy and legitimacy of boxing. Now, I know Foreman just came out. He loves it. He was riveted. How much were you freaking paid to say that?
Yeah, leave this crap for wrestling, okay?
Exactly.
That's where it belongs. Bring in Mr. T in wrestling. Bring in Mike Tyson in wrestling. But boxing supposedly, like horse racing, has some level of integrity.
Not anymore, kids. Not anymore.
All right, so one moment of silence here for former New York Giants head coach Jim Fossil. Interesting point that I heard after the news was announced that he passed away. He coached against Brian Billick in that Super Bowl where the Ravens beat the Giants. Here's the funny thing. And again, I'm not trying to make light of the fact he passed away, but this is just a very interesting trivia tidbit here. Once those guys left those jobs, the Ravens job for Billick and the Giants job for Fossil, never offered another head coaching job again.
Yeah, neither one. Which
very odd. Very odd.
And Fossil took it upon himself. He put the bullseye on his chest that season, midway through, guaranteeing that the Giants were going to make the playoffs.
Yep. You with me? if you're with me,
let's go.
Yep.
If not, he said, it's all on me.
Yep.
And kudos to him for believing in his team and in himself and getting them to the Super Bowl. They just ran into that buzzsaw frickin' defense.
Like we talked about earlier in the show. It's time for the defenses to step up like they did back then.
That was the Baltimore team with Trent frickin' Dilfer as the quarterback.
Easily the worst starting quarterback who ever won a Super Bowl. Whoever won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think Jamarcus Russell might make a claim for worst
starting
big
quarterback
name,
ever.
First round starting quarterback ever.
Yeah.
But I'd also heard that, ironically, what might have submarined Jim Fossil's chances to get another job was he decided to take, a few years later, the offensive coordinator job, ironically, with the Baltimore Ravens, thinking he could
do something,
shift their focus from defense to offense.
There are some teams that thrive on defense and some teams that thrive on offense. And
Bears, Ravens, Steelers, defense.
Exactly.
49ers, offense. Falcons, offense.
Patriots, offense.
Right. But, and again, going to Billick now, Billick was always a little bit arrogant.
Yeah, but
so I'm sure he might have rubbed people the wrong way in interviews.
Be that as it may, I think he is one of the best coaches of his era. And it's a shame he never got another job.
I agree.
I would have loved to have had him as a coach.
Yep, I agree completely.
For a team.
I do. And again, no ill will to Jim Fossil, but those two seem to be kind of linked in history, in NFL history, and I would probably go with Billick.
Yeah, I would agree, but both should have gotten another job.
Correct. All right.
In all the retreads, so.
And now it's time for our typical 180, where we now go to the Red Foreman Dumbasses of the Week. Just a couple this week, one for each of us. So I will let the Conquistador lead us into the land of dumbassery.
I am going with the beloved New York Yankees starter Gerrit Cole as my biggest dumbass of the week. Oh my God, could this guy have made a bigger fool of himself in the interview when asked about pitchers doctoring the ball? He was asked straight up, so have you ever used this spider tack stuff to try and get a better grip? His response, stammering around, was, I don't know how to answer that question. Well, ass bag, you just did. By not saying anything, you admitted to having used the stuff and doctoring the ball, and it was really obvious in your last outing, where you got shellacked and your spin rate was the worst it's been in, 2 years? So, Gerrit Cole, you are the dumbass of the week.
And I want to give props to the Conquistador, because weeks ago, he went on a rant about this, and he said this was a major problem in baseball, and they are finally listening to you.
Yep, they are. Baseball in general now, they're going to start checking all the starting pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to conduct, up to 6 spot checks during a game, I think it was. So be on the lookout.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting right now. The game's probably getting close to wrapping up here on June the 9th, but Gerrit Cole was scheduled to pitch tonight, and everybody was interested in, as you said, what's his spin rate like? How is he looking? Trevor Bauer is another one whose spin rate has decreased now over the last couple of weeks, since people are looking to see what he's up to and what he's doing with the baseball.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting here, kids. Let's see if I can get any updates.
We're trying to get a last-minute update on Gerrit Cole for you. And the sad thing is, I like Gerrit Cole. I really do. Now,
well, here you go. Of course, the Yankees are playing the miserable Twins. So it's now top of the fifth, 7-1 Yankees over Minnesota.
So he's obviously pitching okay.
Yeah, but it's the Twins.
So we have to wait until he plays somebody like the Rays or the Red Sox.
Somebody decent.
But, Gerrit Cole's been at the center of a lot of controversy over the last 3 or 4 years. But in the end, you know what he got? He got paid.
Yes, he did.
In baseball,
that's
that
what
money's
matters.
Guaranteed, and they can't take it away.
All right. Who's your dumbass?
All right. I don't know this kid. He plays for one of the worst teams in baseball, but unforgivable sin for Ke'Bryan Hayes of the Pittsburgh Pirates last night, Tuesday, the 8th of June, hit a home run against the LA Dodgers. It was reviewed because they thought it might have been foul. It ticked the foul pole, so that was okay. That was all good. The problem is, in the review, they saw that he didn't step on first base. You didn't step on first base, Ke'Bryan.
How do you not step on a base?
And then later on in the game, he makes another bonehead play. Overslid second, Dave?
Yes.
Young player, not trying to destroy him, not trying to, rip him apart. But at the same time, wow. One major and one major bonehead. Two major bonehead moves.
But you can call a number of players out for this.
I know.
This guy gets it because he did 2 in 1 game. But base running overall is atrocious anymore. These are the fundamentals of the game, and they're being screwed up badly.
We could go off on a tangent on this because I personally think over the last 25, 30 years, this country has gotten so much more stupid than we were back in the 70s and 80s. And I think this could be a perfect example. Nobody pays attention.
It's the details.
They want to stare at their home run. They want to try to make the big play without making sure the little things are correct and proper.
It's just as bad as nobody can bunt anymore either.
Exactly. Another day, kids. A topic, a conversation, an argument, a rant for another day. But be sure to listen to our weekend edition here coming up on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Apple, all of our usual suspects in terms of podcast hosts.
Rate us, please.
And check out the Facebook page for our weekly NASCAR picks. And once we get into football season, all of our picks, college
baseball picks
and
pop
pro.
up there on Facebook as well.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. Why don't they?
Because I would have to spend how much time explaining the rules to them?
They don't need to know the rules. You just pop up there who we're picking.
All right, I'll consider it. But I just don't want to every year have to explain the rules.
They won.
All right, kids, leave us a message. If you want the baseball picks on our Facebook page, you let me know. You tell me, the maestro Kevin Crane.
Get off your lazy ass and put them up there.
Or if you want to tell the conquistador Dave Hyde how smart he is for bringing this up, do that as well.
I would appreciate it.
Again, check out our weekend edition, no longer just limited to Spotify. It is available all over the place.
Everywhere.
Thanks for all 3 of you who are actually checking it out without the music now.
Send us a message and we'll call you out by name.
Yeah. We hope to double that by 2024. So.
Thanks, kids. We appreciate it.
All right. We'll check you out next week.